ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank the Professor Linton and the University of Ottawa invite me to join this very important events to give the lecture on science and technology policy. And this is the first time I come this city. Before I have been to Montreal and the Toronto, and I think this capital city is capital city. That is more people interested in policy than the other cities. So time is very limited. I was informed I have 1 hour about for the. So why I choose these topics? The policy framework for innovation-driven development in China. So this is, I think it's broad, than science and technology innovation policy. This is directed, clearly point out the policy support the development. So this is nowadays very hot topics in China. So first, the science and technology revolutions. You can say science revolution, technology revolution, and industry revolutions have provided lots of opportunities for catching up countries to achieve their industrialization and modernizations. And on the other hand, if developed country cannot continually catch the pace of the revolution, they may lag behind the previous latecomers. That is so. Here I show you the linear model: science, technology, innovation, industry, and economic prosperity. In practice, may have a science revolution before the technology revolutions. This is historically to say, even nowadays, during the past 2 years, another industry, the third, so-called the third industry revolution is coming, but no evidence, I think. So China, as a catch-up country, is facing great challenges and concerning the economic, social, and sustainable development, and the population, employment, the energy resources, environment. That is lots of challenges. So you look at the newspaper, every day you can find the news concerning these issues. And the Chinese government issues the outline of the medium long-term plan for science and technology development. This outline you released in the year 2006, and with a goal to become an innovative or innovation-driven country by 2020. This is a very ambitious goal, and so we have to review the evolution of this development pace in China. I will say China is an innovation-driven country, and all has raised during the past 30 years and raised serious goals to exploit new demands for science and technology and innovation since 1980s. So you can say, first is the goal is to want to build a well-off society. This raised in 1982. Second is 20 years later, by the former chairman Hu Jintao in the year 2002, the new way of industrializations. So almost 12 years ago, we recognize the traditional industrialization is not the way for China because of the resources and and environment and other challenges constraint. The third one is the scientific outlook on development, which was released in 2003. And the fourth one is resource saving and environment-friendly society. China want to build such a society in 2004, and 1 year later, another goal is to build harmonious society in 2005. And in the year 2006, the Chinese government released a middle long-term plan for science and technology development with a goal innovation-driven country by 2020. And 2 years ago, almost, the Chinese government raised another ambitious goal. We want to build eco-civilizations, or we can say also eco-civilization society in 2012. Yeah, that is, so the slight change may have lots of policy follow these goals change. So that is briefly. I have to stop here. Follow these goals. At the same time, Chinese government has taken several national strategies since 1978 to emphasize the principles for development so as to realize national development goals. As well known to all, the reform openings, the first strategy by Deng Xiaoping mentioned. Second is the strategy for sustainable development in 1992. Right at the same year, the United Nations have the meeting, the 21st century agenda. And the third one is the strategy for reinvigorating nations through science, technology, and education in 1995. And there is the year 2002, the strategy for reinvigorating nations through talents, and so on. So 2 years ago, the Chinese government raised the new strategy, a strategy for innovation-driven development. This is you can follow this the evolution of this strategy. You can find they gradually to emphasize different development patterns. And first, we concern about the environment. First is to open to all sides. Second is about the environment, the relation between the human and the environment, and then care about the science and technology education, and then care about the talents. So lots of policy to strengthen, to promote the recruiting the overseas students, and finally emphasize the innovation. That's a major driving force for development. So I suppose you know some Chinese structure, but still I want to show you. So here is the administration of Chinese government. Here is state councils. There's a leading group for science, technology, education. And here is the most for science and technology policy. Here is the NDRC, the National Development Reform Commission. This is the major government agency responsible for investment. This is so large facilities for science technology also approved by NDRC. So if money, is huge money to be approved here. But national science technology programs, operate by the most, and also and the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Personnel, and also the state intellectual property office, and Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Industry and in the information technology, and also other ministries. So ministries, yeah, most, this is national science technology programs, they're mega programs, and some industry have its research institute, and most of this institute in the field of technology development have been transformed into enterprises or moved into the enterprises in the year 2001, I think. They have to. That is almost 12 years ago. And also, besides, this is the Chinese Academy of Sciences and the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. Before 1977, there are one Chinese Academy of Sciences. So CAS, Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, separated from Chinese Academy of Sciences in the year 1977. So, affiliate to this CAS, there is some research institute. Within Chinese Academy of Sciences, we have 105 research institutes, about 60,000 staff, plus more than 50,000 students. This is CAS. So maybe for foreigners, maybe very often they don't know why CAS can award degree. So in China, the regulation or policy document about the graduate released by Chinese Academy. Because at the very beginning, all the top scientists moved from university for industry, from abroad to the CAS. So the nature scientists, more than 95% top scientists working for the CAS. So that is for the university. There's not so strong researchers before 1985. That is therefore the graduates, undergraduate university play a very important role, and the graduate Chinese Academy play a very important role, and later on some institute affiliated to the ministries, industry, also can award degree, but focus on master level. This is CAE. This is also proposed by Chinese Academy of Chinese Academy to establish in 1994. And this is a National Nature Science Foundation. This is support the research, basic research. That is so you can find lots of briefly the structure of the scientific communities in the government. So their functions, we call it all these play a very different role, but the major role is most Minister of Science and Technology, because if there is no Minister of Science and Technology, the voice of a scientist is not so strong. So in developing countries, it's very important. For developed countries, usually not necessary to have such, because industry know how to organize the innovation. So I would like to say, during the past 20 years, there are big changes. So in the middle of 1990s, so R&D expenditure to GDP, the ratio is about 0.5 in the former Premier Zhao Ziyang period. This is the lowest. Later on, gradually by the year 2000, reached almost 1%, and gradually by the year 2008 is about 1.2%. 2 or so. So because of the middle and long-term plan for science technology development, so the R&D expenditure increased faster than the GDP growth rate. So therefore, the expenditure rate increased to about 2.1% in the year 2013. So this is another indicator shows Chinese innovation system also changed. Before is university and research institute centered national innovation systems. So which means the R&D expenditures, institutions of higher education and research institute altogether, they account more than 70 or even more. But the first year, almost 60% accounts. The enterprises R&D expenditure accounts almost 60%, and gradually, in the last year, is 76%. Now we can say is reach to the stages, the firm-centered national innovation systems from these indicators. However, the capacity of these firms for innovation is still not so strong, not comparable with that developed countries. But the percentages looks like in the developed countries. This is so. Also, you can find the basic research accounts less than 5% of the R&D expenditure. So even for the university, you can find still less than 1/3 for basic research. You can find the research institute majority is also the applied research and development. And in the enterprises, almost no research. There are some applied, very small, and majority is in development. Although Chinese government want to support the R&D in enterprises, but no I, only D in enterprises in practice. So second part, I want to introduce the change of science technology policy, innovation policy in China. There are 4 important events on science and technology policy which have profound impact on the evolution of science technology innovation policy in China. First is the National Science Technology Conference, or in 1978, right after the Cultural Revolution. So this is first time, although the thinking way still remain in the central planning economy, but they are very eager to do innovation at that time. And the second is in the year 1985, when the Central Committee of the Communist Party and the State Council released very important document, the decision on reforming science technology system. This is the symbol for the new areas of science technology development in China. And this is the first time there is a so-called the technology market. Technology treat as a product, as a could be trade. We call it a tradable product. That is the very beginning. And also, scientists go out of their laboratory, university, to the enterprises, that is very important. And 10 years later, decision on deepening science technology system reform in 1995. This document provide have some very important decision. First, the research institute can be serve the economy in 4 ways. For example, to become enterprises, to serve enterprises, to join enterprises, and to be part of enterprises, or to provide the consultation for the enterprises. That is different. So that is very important. 4 years later, 4 years later. So that is another very important conference. Finally made the agenda for this research institute to enter to the economy, so-called they have transformed into enterprises, or join the enterprise, or move to the enterprises in the 1999. So, and the last, but I think it is most important recently, this event is national middle long-term plan for science technology development in 2006. I think all these in different stages, you cannot say which is most important in different period. I think this is open mind is very, very important. This is for the change in the mind is very important. Change in the mind to serve the industry, serve the economy, and this is a very important individual. They provide different ways, patterns for research institute to serve in industry economy. This is clearly the way to serve the development for science and technology. So after this outline of science, the middle and long-term plan for science and technology development, Chinese government has issued the supportive policy for implementing this plan. In the year 2006, this totally 60 articles, and thereafter there are 76 or 78. It depends how to count the policy documents to implement this supportive policy by end of 2008. This policy have effectively promoted national innovation capacity building, which has profound impact on economic and social development and sustainable development. So I try to explain some supporting policies. So supporting policies, first, of course, to increase input in science and technology innovation. This is one, actions. How to increase? So first is to increase science and technology expenditure dramatically and maintain a growth rate faster than government regular revenues. This is, therefore I said, is faster than the GDP growth rate. Therefore, the ratio of R&D expenditure to GDP growth. And the second is to adjust the structure of science technology expenditure and the structure of national science technology programs, so as to stimulate the enterprises to invest in innovations. So this is to encourage enterprises to conduct the project with support of the public fund, and when this research relates to the technology development. And also, second part is very important, especially for enterprises. To support enterprise innovation, the tax incentive is very important. So share the cost of R&D or the risk of the R&D in enterprises by means of tax credit. So that is at that time, if enterprise invests 100 for R&D, they can get 16.5 back. Yeah. This is as a nowadays is 12.5 because the tax rate decreased. So, and the second is to provide policy for deducting the tax of imported facilities instrument for speeding up the depreciation of the facilities instrument, so as to encourage enterprise to upgrade their experiment capacities. That is, and also this incentive policy to support enterprise to renew their technology development center facilities, national laboratories, engineering research centers, and so on. That is the third one is government procurement, the policies. This is also very important, but at first, because there are some articles in these procurement policies not so clear to support the foreign registered in China's companies. So U.S. and China, where we have an innovation dialogue, this is the key issues about this one. So we are adjusting the policy for government procurement. The fourth one is finance support for develop seed funds, VC, and the stock market. The fifth one is innovation based on important assimilated technologies. This is not so important, the policy, compared to the tax policies, tax incentive policies. The sixth one is to create and protect the IPR. So when I was in the year 10 years ago, when I studied the IPR of China production capacity, I found only about 117 granted invention patent by USPTO. But this is in the year 2000. But nowadays is the number is much larger. I will show you later. So that's because of this policy. Encourage the enterprises and the research institute and the university to pay great attention on the IPR generation and also protect. Last year, the new leadership released a very important report about the reform, deepen the reform. When China were established the IPR court, which is a very important signal to protect the IPR in China. And the seventh is to train qualify the human resource on science technology and promote the flow to firms. So one big issue is the talent flow among university research institutes and government. Not so many flow to firms. That is a big issue. That is behind these phenomena we can find that is policy. How to encourage these talents to work for the companies. So that is the income systems in China have to be changed. That is very important. And so high pay, high risk. That is rational. But so far this is not, the system is not so. The last one is to build a national infrastructure and platform for science technology. So no matter, you can find the Ministry of Science and Technology, the NDRC, they have a special initiative or programs to support or to establish the national laboratory, national key laboratories, and national engineering laboratories, and national engineering research centers. These centers extend, at first they establish such centers at a university or research institute. Nowadays, they establish such centers in enterprises. I think this is a good way for enterprise to maintain the cultivated talents in the enterprises. If there's no such talents, it is difficult for enterprise to communicate with academia, to absorb, to accept the technology from university and research institute. So that is a big change. And besides these supporting policies, the Chinese government agencies, almost individuals, most the NDRC, the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, they all release some specific policy to easier the implementation of this supporting policy. So, and local level, in provincial level, more than 1,500 policies released during that period before 2008. That is very important. So that is not new. Just want to make the supporting policy could be used for the specific the enterprise and research institute or universities. So, and the third one I want to emphasize, this innovation policy also have some concern about the global issues for climate change and the green growth. So I list here 3 actions. First is China's science and technology actions on climate change. This is joint issue by several ministries. And the second is China's national climate change programs to support specific projects. And the third one is renewable and energy and new energy international science and technology cooperation programs. This is, I don't want to talk in detail. So how to make China be innovative or innovation-driven country? So far, 12 5-year plan for national science and technology development. This issued in 2011, and 12 5-year plan for national strategically emerging industry in the same year, and a 12 5-year plan for national major innovation-based construction in 2013, and 12 5-year plan for national innovation capacity building in 13. That is last year, January. And the last one is the medium long-term plan for national major science technology, infrastructures, and construction. All these, that is the government should do. Infrastructures, capacity building, and science and technology, especially science development. So the programs, a lot of, I have no time to describe what kind of policy specifically, but I show you. This is several years ago. You can find the patent application asset. The number compared to the year 2000, this is a huge progress made. And you can find the co-authors the researchers. So you can find here, Canada is also the major cooperating partner of Chinese scientists. So this shows China is more open than ever. So the cooperation with other countries' scientists increased very fast. Yeah. So this is evidence. And you can find also the Chinese research, the strong areas. You can find computer sciences, material science, and chemical engineering and chemistry and so on. And you can also, the number of patents increase very fast. You can find this, the grows very fast. But if that is the PCT. If the PCT is a fast, international fast, look at here, China increased not so fast. Still, United States and Japan, Germany is lead in the world. So this chapter I think is very important for Chinese to understand the real situations. So in the global market, the competitiveness is here. Is the PCT enters a specific country. This is not only the number. And in the USPTO, you can find the China, the granted patents, innovation patents increase very fast, and still behind Taiwan. So in the year 2000, the mainland is about 38, maybe 3%, less than 3% of Taiwan. The number. Nowadays you can find it is close. It's not so. The gap is not so high, so big. So generally to say, China is number one in terms of GDP, and R&D expenditure is 1.2 almost trillion RMB, 2.1% of GDP for R&D. And you can find this. I don't want to say here the number. Anyway, number increase is easy, but the difficulties for us is how to measure the quality. So you can find here the IPR expenditures, the trade, Chinese enterprises paid. So we also have the revenue through the IPR, but we paid more. So it's minus 16.7 billion US dollars in the year 2012. This is in reality. Although you have lots of patent, but still you need a lot of technology. You have to pay for license fee or royalties. So publications also change a lot. And you can find number 5 in terms of highly cited papers. But here, I would like to say, number 14 in terms of citation per paper. This is below the world average. So that is still we have a long march to catch up. And so the last part I would like to talk about the policy for innovation-driven development. So China is facing great challenges, as I said, related to the industrialization, urbanization after 30 years fast development. So the goals such as less energy intensity per unit of product service, but lower service material intensity and lower level of environment toxicity and risks. So all these you can find we have a lot of problems to be solved. Another issue very important is the urbanized rate in terms of resident or reduced populations. There is a big gap, which means we have more people who work at the urban areas cannot enjoy the public services in the urban areas. That is a big challenge for Chinese government. We call it the 农民工, the rural workers. That is a typical translation. They are not the peasant, not the worker. They are worker from countryside. So they cannot enjoy the public service at the urban areas. So 17%, the huge populations. That is very important. Therefore, 10 years ago, I joined this chart, and I revised 10 years image about the futures by 2020. We call it inclusive growth, innovation driven. So all this you can find industrialization. We have to follow a new way to develop new way for urbanization and the globalizations and the smarter informatizations and the consumption-driven societies. Here is a very important thing. Since 1980, I say Chinese always serve the world peoples, the foreign peoples, because we export. We made in China export. So good quality materials, products, export. And low quality, we use it. That is because we need the foreign, the hard currency. But nowadays, we have to change the philosophy, serve the people in China. So domestic market driven the further development. That is the way. The philosophy for development has changed. And nowadays, almost all people talk about innovation. No matter government officials, scientists, social scientists, economists, enterprise entrepreneur. But when you discuss with them, you can find they use the same language, same words, but has a different meaning. So I try to integrate all these understanding about innovations in one definitions. So I start from the value creation. So I think innovation is a complex process of value creation, a system of value creation. You can say scientific value, technological value, methodological value, and economic value, social value, even cultural value creation. So each value has each activities. So discovery emphasizes scientific value, and technology innovation emphasizes technological value, and business model innovation, and commercialization applications have different value creation. So that is very important. That is very important. So then you can find scientists can find the definition, some part is their understanding. Religion emphasize the culture, the social perspective of innovations. Innovation capacity is ability to conduct scientific discovery, technological innovation, methodological innovation, and related commercial application, as well as social diffusion under certain institution, environment, and infrastructures. So innovation is a social process of value creations. So I emphasize the social perspective. Everybody could be involved in the process and even be innovator. So innovation should solve social problems, create more social value than economic value. This understanding we bring into the China's 12 5-year plan for innovation capacity building. So innovation-driven development means has two meaning. Not on a development path, but also development level. So on the one hand, innovation-driven development means innovation becomes the major driving force for development. On the other hand, the development reach such a high level. This is so I want to show you the 3 dimensions. I want to say how to make policy for science and technology innovation. You can find this is the activities, this is the actions, the player, this is elements for the activities. You can find scientific discovery, technology innovation, engineerization, commercialization, marketization, and the social services and application and diffusion. Different activity has different key player. So in China, scientists complain, government says enterprise is a major player of the innovation. Scientists say we are also major player of innovation. Why you say the enterprise? So because innovation you can find consists of different activities. Different activity has different key player and different combination of elements. So policy should clearly define the activities, the stakeholders, and the combination of elements. And that is very important. So based on the understanding this 3 dimensions of innovation, we have to collect the key issues on science, technology innovations in China. You can find this is a mega project. This is towards the key issues related to the long term and also the general development for the country. And the knowledge innovation and technology innovation and commercialization and innovation for strategic emerging industry and for upgrading the key industries. So very often we have to say upgrading the existing key industries to some extent is more important than to develop strategic emerging industry. That is quite small. It takes time, and especially when we want to follow the green growth, the way of green growth. So key industry upgrading is more important. So all this you can find we can find this issue. The innovation capacity building is in the center of the new policy. And besides, you can find science technology development and strategic emerging urbanization. All these issues relate to the science technology innovation. For the capacity building, not only the science technology innovation infrastructures, but also the key industry capacity building for innovation, and the strategically emerging industry and modern agriculture, modern service industry, the capacity building for innovation in the industries. And for the social service sectors, the public medical, health, security, public security, education, social services. The innovation for these social services sectors even more important than the industry, because in China, as I said, because of the new new way of urbanizations, the big gap from in terms of residents population and the registered populations. So Chinese government have to establish and low cost, high quality, and broad coverage public service system. That is more important than the GDP growth rate. So that is capacity for these social services sectors is very important. And regional innovation capacity building also very important. And innovation environment and culture to encourage, stimulate the talents, the normal people. So nowadays we know there is a cloud technology. Cloud technology. So I will say, because thanks to the technology, in the future we have a cloud, the innovation. Cloud of innovation, which means these guys fly from one city to another. They integrate the factors which are important for innovations, and this is more efficient than ever. Of course, you can find here the human resources and the budget is also very important. For the strategic emerging industries, this is also serves the national goals to become innovation-driven, and also the green, low carbon and green growth. There's energy-saving environment protections industries. So this is one example. Low cost, high quality, broad coverage to public service systems. This is one example. One of our CAS Institute. Their research starts in the 2007. Very simple devices and facilities, and movable and portable working stations for general practitioner, step by step, and in a lower prices, and movable and portable to the rural, remote countryside. And so more than 10,000 villages they have serviced in China. And innovation-driven city initiative, first by the NDRC, later on by most Ministry of Science and Technology. There are a lot of cities. Originally, we thinking about next 20 years, China needs new engine for development, new engine for innovation-driven development. So we selected the regional center, regional economic and science technology center, Shenzhen, Dalian, and Qingdao, many big cities, try to develop new engines for regional development for next centuries. So currently in China, in the Chinese government always mentioned we have the Pure River Delta and Yangtze River Delta and the Bo Sea, the coast. This is along the coast. But these three areas cannot support the next round of development of China. So we need in the middle of China and even western China to build the new innovation-driven city or cluster of innovation-driven city. So you can find, this is always mentioned here. But I think we have to develop here, and even here, some new innovation-driven city cluster. So, of course, the Chinese government released very important documents about the science, technology, innovation, system innovation. So the reform on science and technology innovation system, you can find reform on science, technology, macro decision-making systems, national leading group for science and education. Besides, they have a newly established national leading group for science, technology, institutional reform and innovation system building. The coordination and communication mechanism among ministries also established. And the decision-making consultation mechanism. Chinese Académie of Sciences provides a consultation for the government. Become a regular process for the important policy making. So, and a reform on a national plan on science technology development. This is the principle is innovation in many pattern of the STI activities. The goal is to establish an operation mechanism of decision-making, implementation, and evaluation. So emphasize this, the transparency, impartiality, and integrity, appropriateness, and efficiency. That is, currently there are a lot of criticize on the national science technology programs. There are lots of programs. So we want to improve these systems. And the reform on science technology funds management. Recently, the State Council released the documents. So this is lots of measures taken here to balance competitive and stable fundings. So previous we have more money for competition. So you have to compete the fund. So that is not so good, especially for technology development, because enterprise want to do what the expert scientists want to do. So they compete the project, but they don't want to do. So this is not matched between the demand of enterprises and the public fund, the funding guidelines. That is and the reform on science technology evaluation and the reward systems. So first is value orientation change. Focus on quality and its contributions. 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago, when we start to study to conduct a strategic study for middle long-term plan for science technology, I say, what are the scientists doing now? Based on my own observation, I think they are doing publishable work. They always follow the hot topics in the journals. So what is important is not issue. The important for them is to be publishable. For the enterprises, what they are doing what the market profitable. They get copy the technology, even some of them pay the license fee, some of not. So there are so lots of problems. So for scientists, we emphasize not the quality, we number. So number of patents increase faster than the quality improvement. That is the real situations. So nowadays, I have no time within our Chinese Academy because our institute is also responsible for evaluating all the institutes of Chinese Academy since 1994. So, and also the result of evaluation determines their budget. That is a very tough job. So the value orientation of our Chinese Academy changed. I can say first, we ask all the institutes to emphasize the number of ACR papers first. Then we find this number grows very fast. 2 years surpass the Max Planck and the CRS, the France. So then we count only the paper in the top journals. That is 50%, the top journals. And the number also increases very fast. So we have very diversified indicators. Patent and it's also very fast. So since 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when the new president of CAS in power, he emphasized only the breakthrough. So each institute, no matter how big you are, you just told me 3 events, 3 targets. You don't mention how many papers published. I don't want to know. I just want to know 3 things. So that's it, which means give a high priority on the quality, on the contribution to the science and technology development. So that is the value oriented. So in Chinese Academy, in our institute, we never care about the ACR papers. You told me I just published one ACR paper in top journals. I said, good, congratulations. No other words. But in some university, they have to say, one paper, several thousand or even 10,000 bonus for one paper. So that is the value orientations change. So that's how for reform measures too. So you evaluate the best research, the peer review, applied research, third party, and industry technology development reviewed by the industry. So that is different. And also try to synergize and integrate the science, technology, and educations. To benefit, for example, for our research institute, we can train students. We have award degree to benefit for our research. For university, they can also conduct research to combine the education and research. So in our academy, we emphasize 3 function integration. We call it the the integration of research, education, and the think tank function. The three functions integrated in one body. That is based on my observation, top organizations, university, no matter university or think tank, they have three functions at the same time. So lunch is think tank, but lunch also have a very good work in theory and methodologies, and also have good research, and they have school training. The integration of science technology development with science technology for development, and central government and local government, and the civil sector, defense sectors, and the basic research, applied research, and industrializations. I want to conclude. Innovation is a complex process of value creation. It is necessary to exploit and energize the people's potential for innovation by developing effective policies for science, technology, and innovation. Focus on following 5 issues. Innovation capacity building, this is very important. Always the core of the policy. Second is mechanism for managing public expenditure for science and technology innovations. The third one is funding system and the financial institutions reform. This is, we have changed the way, as I mentioned before. The fourth is innovative human resources. We need multi-level, diversified human resources. So nowadays in Chinese, the policies always emphasize top scientists. We have hundreds the talents programs policies. I think that is not good. So far, I don't. Maybe you know how many the policies or initiatives related directly to the talents in Canada, in US, not so many. Yeah, you have just in US you just have an immigrant policy. If you are good, I want, then you can stay here. It's simple. Yeah, that is in China. That's from central government to local government, from research institute to the universities, even to the enterprises. They have a specific policy for talents. So that is, to some extent, they have some negative impact. So these policies label these people in different levels. They have no strong incentive for people to work. They're just to apply for these policies. Yeah. The last one is innovation environment. This is property system and IPR protections. So property systems in China is different. China is different because we are central planning economy changed so far. We have changed a lot. Still, properties protections, property systems has been reformed. This is very important. I don't have no time to discuss in detail. And IPR, as I mentioned, China established IPR court. This is a big event, very important. So, besides, I think also internationalization, also very important. And the integration of technology business model, marketing innovation is also important. Regional innovation cluster is very important. But the previous 4 or 5 are more important. That is my talk. Thank you very much.